Alright people, let's talk about Superman. Of course, our big DC movie to kick off the DCU next year in 2025, formerly known as Superman Legacy. We are now getting Superman from James Gunn. And of course, recently we got our first look at the film, which was met with very mixed reactions. Some people loved it, some people were pretty middle of the road on it, and a lot of people actually absolutely hated it. But to be fair, I mean, pretty much every first look at a Superman costume, or most, especially nowadays, beloved superhero costumes, first reactions have been met with those mixed reactions. I mean, everybody hated Robert Pattinson's Batman costume when that was first revealed, but now everybody loves it. So I feel like it'll be the same for James Gunn's Superman as well, especially when we get to finally see that suit in action. But today we are talking about some rumors and reports, some new details that have been revealed on this film, because of course not much is really known about this movie, which is kind of refreshing for once. But the movie is still a little over a year away, and we are here today to talk about the villains of the movie, because we've seen castings for some of the characters in this film, but there's also some castings we haven't seen, and there's rumors of this villain and that villain and a whole bunch of different villains, and obviously more information has been released since then. But back last year, as the end of last year, I did do a video talking about hypothetically who could be the main villain of Superman Legacy, and I went over the possibilities of a bunch of different villains, from Lex Luthor to Brainiac to Darkseid to Mr. Mxyzptlk to Toyman. So definitely go check out that video if you haven't already. But today we are talking about some actual reports and rumors coming from Scooper Fortress of DC. Now, this is a scooper I'm not super familiar with, and of course this is a scooper, this is all anonymous, this is all rumors, so of course, as always, take it with a grain of salt, until we get real, actual evidence to support these claims, but it's still always fun to just hypothetically talk about all of this, so that's what we're gonna do. And they just posted a little thread about what they know about the villains of Superman. So first of all, of course, Lex Luthor is the main villain of the movie. This is something James Gunn has confirmed himself. But it said here he will use other villains and get them to fight Superman as well. But he's behind all of this himself. Villains such as Solaris, which we'll talk about in a second. So Lex Luthor, obviously we know Nicholas Hoult has been cast in the role. That news came out, I believe, probably December-ish of last year, something like that. So exciting stuff. I think this is a great casting, and I'm really excited to see Nicholas Hoult in the role, and I'm really excited to see Lex Luthor as the main villain of this film. It said that they're going to show a more scientific side of the character than we've seen in past live-action versions of Lex, so that's really exciting. Now, like I said, Solaris, or Solaris, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but I'm going to call him Solaris. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But Solaris plays another supporting villain role here. As in the comics, it is an evil artificial sun. Lex teams up with Solaris to take down Superman, but Lex has his own plans. Lex simply tricks him into attacking Superman with his own plans. So Solaris is interesting because we hadn't heard anything about this character being featured in the film until we got our first look at David Corenswet as Superman suited up here, and in the background there's just that big floating pink orb in the sky, which when I did my breakdown video I had no idea what that was. Some people mentioned, oh, that could possibly be Solaris, but we also talked about how this could have just been for the promo photo. Like, just because that's in the background does not all mean this is going to be in the movie. This is not a shot from the movie. This was just a promo photo for the film. But now, apparently, Solaris is going to be in the movie, and apparently we have our first look at the character, which, I mean, I don't really know why he's pink. If it's supposed to be a sun, you'd think, like, yellow or orange, but we'll see on that. But as for other villains that have been rumored for a while now, Ultraman. So Ultraman plays a supporting villain role here. He is a clone of Superman created by Lex Luthor to take down the Man of Steel. Gunn wants us to see the contrast between an evil Superman and his Superman. David Corenswet plays the role. So this is something we first talked about a couple months ago when Scooper My Time to Shine Hello posted a picture. It was a set photo, well, not set photo, but it was a behind-the-scenes photo that was taken with Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, and David Corenswet. And My Time to Shine Hello reposted that picture saying Lois and the main villains of Superman. So that led us to believe there was going to be an evil Superman in this film that David Corenswet was going to be playing. And first thoughts went to Bizarro or Cyborg Superman, but then very quickly after, we got rumors of Ultraman, which is still a choice I'm not super, on board with, because especially if it's in the comics, obviously Ultraman is Superman from a different universe. So there's some multiverse stuff in play here. It doesn't seem like that's going to be part of this film. So that makes me wonder if it's just a regular old artificial clone of Superman created by Lex Luthor. Why not just do Bizarro or Cyborg Superman? Characters that I think we would prefer to see and would have cooler looking costumes. But, whatever. But I do like the explanation behind this, because just the idea of doing an evil Superman, evil Superman is very overdone in recent years and in just recent films and media. So to do evil Superman again, I was like, whatever. But I get the reasoning behind this, because we know this Superman film is going to really show the blue Boy Scout version of Superman. Hopefully very similar to what we've been seeing with Superman and his portrayal on My Adventures with Superman. Great adaptation of the character. So to really show that contrast between the evil and the good Superman, I think is a really nice way of going about doing that. Now, another villain who for a while was rumored to be the main villain of this film was Brainiac, and people have been begging for Brainiac in live action for years. We got a great version of the character on Krypton, but that was Krypton. So to see Brainiac on the big screen would have been awesome. He would have been the main villain of Man of Steel 2 if Zack Snyder and that movie moved forward, but that didn't happen. And looks like he's not going to be the main villain of this film either. But supposedly Brainiac will still appear in the movie. He's not going to be the main villain, not even a supporting villain on par with Ultraman, but according to Fortress of DC, Brainiac will have a small role in the DCU Superman movie, just like Thanos did in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. So this will be more to set him up for future Superman versus Brainiac fights, possibly in a Superman 2 or Superman 3, which this is something I like the idea of, because the idea of having Brainiac as the main villain of this first Superman movie was never something I loved the idea of. I mean, yes, I desperately need to see Brainiac on the big screen in live action. That would be awesome. But to jump right into that in the first movie, especially with Superman so early on in his career, that wasn't something I was interested in seeing. I want Brainiac to be a character that is built up, just like how, again, reference to My Adventures with Superman, that character was built up to then be teased at the end of Season 1, and now it's going to be a big role in Season 2. So Brainiac is a character having this Thanos-type role, having just a cameo, maybe even just a post-credit scene in this Superman movie, I think is a really neat, interesting idea that builds up to that character, and I think that's something that Brainiac is deserving of. So this is an idea I'm really, really happy with. But those are all our updates on the villains of James Gunn's Superman movie, which of course is filming right now and will release in theaters in July of 2025, a film I'm very excited for. 2025 is going to be a big year for superhero films, and yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with Lex as the main villain. It's cool that we're getting Solaris. It's cool that we're getting Ultraman. And I think this idea and this approach to Brainiac is a really cool idea as well. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about these reports, rumors, and updates on Superman and the villains of the film? So thanks for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.